Hello, we're going to be reviewing the Bikes Direct gravity bike today out here in beautiful Northern California. First, let me tell you what you do not get on this bike, because it's been modified for me. The rear rack doesn't come with it, the bag doesn't come with it, the aero bars don't come with it, and bottle holders and bottles do not come with it. I've replaced the crankset and I've replaced the wheels. The crankset was a no-name crank, and I did not trust it, and I took it off and got rid of it right away. The wheels only lasted about 2 months and they were pretty well trashed. The wheels that come on this are pretty much useless, so I plan on buying new wheels right away. Buying new wheels is something you have to do on almost any bike you buy, no matter how much you spend. These particular wheels were extra bad, best I can tell, because they were too narrow, 32 spoke, and the materials must have been too soft. The gravity frame was a little disappointing. I don't think it's double butted. A butted frame means that the frame's thicker towards the welds than it is in the middle, because the frame has a pretty harsh ride to it. So I do not recommend this bike for anybody riding rough roads. It's going to be pretty harsh. It also comes with a straight blade steel fork, and I don't understand the engineering behind straight blade forks. They don't work. They're too harsh. They're not really good for anything. Even though this is a steel fork, it's still too harsh. I've ridden carbon forks and aluminum forks, all straight blade, and they don't work. I prefer the old-fashioned forks with a nice smooth taper and made out of steel or carbon, and those work the best. So as far as a good riding bike, it's fast, it's fairly light. This is the largest frame you can buy, so this probably weighs in around 24 pounds. Of course, it weighs a lot more the way it's equipped now, but unequipped, about 24 pounds. I've added SPD pedals, which is my choice for pedals, and it has a 172.5 millimeter crank. I prefer a 170, and at some time I'm going to replace it. I replaced the crank with a FSA Vero, and I've had great luck with their Vero and Tempo cranks. They are very stiff, very strong, they don't break, so you're going to have good luck with them, and they're only like $50. They go onto a tapered bottom bracket, and they'll fit right up with a Shimano or any other bottom bracket you have in there. I particularly picked this size and this kind of frame. This is a semi-compact frame with a down-sloping tube. I picked a larger size because I wanted to use my aero bars, and I wanted a higher position for the aero bars. So this one worked out pretty well. Now technically this bike most people would say is too big for me, but flat-footed I can still pick the bike up almost an inch off the ground and still clear. So it happened to work out exactly to what I wanted to ride. This bike is also equipped with bar ends, which I added, doesn't come with it, and a rear view mirror. As nerdy as that may sound to some of you, this mirror has saved my life probably thousands of times over the last years I've ridden. The paint is very nice. It's been clear coated over the decals, so it's a very professional job. All the welds look really smooth and well done. For a hybrid bike, this is well done. for a $300 bike. I will probably eventually put a different fork on it with a tapered end and disc tabs and and have a front disc brake. I live in an area with very long, fast descending mountains, and I don't like using rim brakes anymore and watching those wheels heat up. Let's see, I've replaced the tires also. It came with a set of tires I didn't even use because tires are far too important to buy anything less than the best. So I'm running a specialized all-condition tire on here. These tires are 28 millimeter wide. These are the Armadillos, and they have never gone flat. These are very fast tires with a 115 psi top pressure rating, and I can't say better things about Specialized tires right now. They're absolutely the best tire. All my bikes now have Specialized Armadillo tires on them. You don't want to go cheap on tires. Your life literally is riding on them. You have a blowout on a front going down a mountain grade at 50 miles an hour, you probably will not stay up. So put some money into some tires, please. Let's see, what else can I say about this? The gearing is on the front is a 30, 42, 52, which, well, I have another video coming up on gearing, but it does the job for around here. It has a 12.25 on the rear. I'm 195 pounds. I'm not the fastest hill climber, so this gearing's just a little too high for me. The brakes are calipers, and the brake levers are integrated with the shifters, and the brake levers are a little flexible. So once you get into a point, you're going to feel some flex, and you're going to have to keep pulling to make a stop. The shifting is 8-speed, and it's no complaints. It's about as good as it gets. I see no reason to spend high dollars on a bike. I see no reason to spend high dollars on components. For the average rider out there, unless you are an extremely strong rider, you don't need to spend a lot of money on bikes. I've been spending very little on these bikes. This is the fourth Bikes Direct bike I own now. I have a Windsor 2.0 road bike, a Windsor Cliff 4500 mountain bike, and I had bought a Windsor Stratford hybrid bike, which I trashed on the road, and this is what it is replacing because they do not make the Stratford anymore. Bottom bracket is there's no flex in it, so climbing on this is a very easy thing. You're not going to be flexing and driving your chain into the front derailleur. Next I want to go into the proper way of setting up a hybrid bike. I went with the larger frame because of the aero bars, which gives me another position which is badly needed with these flat bars. I now have three basic positions for my hands, which is on the top, on the extensions, and in the aero position. These three positions provide a very nice wide range, giving all the upper body a relaxing, especially the hands, relaxing multiple positions. You probably will need the spring up aero bars, because any bars that are mounted permanently down, you will probably, when standing, drive your leg into the side because they're just too low. So Make sure you get the flip-up ones. I went with a rear rack because the seat pack for holding things would interfere with the back of my leg, and I would just cut the back of my leg on them. So they don't work anymore. I probably could go with a lightweight pack on the aero bars, but this is mid-November, so I want the extra space for clothes. Don't want to be 50 miles from home and get stuck in a 60-degree rain without extra clothes. And that's about it for now. Bikes Direct has been my savior. I'm literally a starving artist, so I make very little money, and I love to ride. And living in this area, I want a mountain bike, I want a road bike, so I have a number of different bikes, 4 total, the 3 I told you about, plus a giant comfort bike that I've fixed up for touring, and that'll be in later videos too, how to set up a perfect touring bike. But I consider this the perfect hybrid bike as far as setup goes. The other things I've mentioned is the things that it needs. So you may be considering, why spend $300 and replace cranks, wheels, and put all this stuff on there? Well, if you did spend the $300, you would have to go to Trek or someplace else and spend the $800 or $900 that the equivalent of this bike is on components. All the components, of course, are listed on Bikes Direct. This is the Gravity FB model. It costs $300 right now. As I said earlier, there's no bike on the market that's going to sell you a good wheel. Wheels are the worst thing to come on a bike and the most useless thing. You need to go to a good wheel builder or buy good wheels that are already built. I am not a believer in these low spoke count wheels anymore, especially on a more inexpensive wheel. I've ridden Mavic's low spoke count, which with Mavic wheels with a 20 radial front and 20 forward cross 2 rear. Those were not a problem. I've always ridden Mavic rims, DT spokes, and Campanolo hubs, but today the already built Mavic wheels with their Mavic hub, which is got a replaceable cassette bearing, which you're going to need because they're only going to last you about 2,000 miles. Those wheels were very good. So those are the only wheels I've ever tested in low spoke count. Otherwise, these are a very cheap wheel, but they have 32 spokes, and they have a very wide rim, which makes for a strong wheel. I've been riding these wheels on my other road bike, my Windsor 2.0. On that bike, there's probably probably 6,000 miles on that bike, and no, not on that bike. 2,000 miles on that bike, and 2,000 miles on these wheels. And for a stock wheel to hold up for 2,000 miles under my kind of riding says a lot. So I'm sticking with the high spoke counts and looking for replacement wheels in at least 32 spoke, and if I can find them, 36. With the best combination now is the Mavic. I think it's the CPX22 rim. Go with 14 gauge DT straight gauge spokes and a Shimano 105 hub, and you should be in good shape. Those wheels will range about $170 a pair. Now everything I'm talking about is not for racers. These bikes are not. They're too heavy to be racing on. The wheels are too heavy. But for everybody else out there, this weight conscious thing has been a ridiculous notion for everybody. You do not need the ultra lightweight everything. With ultra lightweight, a lot of times you get ultra weak components, especially if you're not spending very much. So just don't worry about the weight. Unless you're racing and in a peloton, the weight really doesn't matter that much. The weight only matters in acceleration and climbing. And even climbing, as far as recreational cyclists like we are, you don't need the light weight. All you're going to do is get into a rhythm, and once the weight's moving, it doesn't really matter that much. But if you're in a peloton racing, there's always a slowing up and a speeding up. You need a lightweight bike, you need lightweight wheels, and you need a lot of good stuff to be safe and to be fast and to be competitive with everybody else. But everything I'm going to be talking about on my videos is for anybody from beginning to expert recreational cyclists. And that's about all for the interview. Thank you very much. So, we're in Redding today, up in the mountains, test riding the new Gravity FB, now available at Bikes Direct. This has been a fun bike to ride, though it's had its problems, but it's equipped now and ready to go, and I'm having a good time. So we're out here on a nice 60-degree day in Redding. Middle of November, couldn't be better.